Hi there, I'm Danny Flexon and welcome to Seconds Out Flexpectations, our weekly look ahead to things going on in the world of boxing. We're here every Thursday at 4:30pm. And I thought this week, rather than talk about boxing politics or even external politics, it might be a good time to return to boxing, as boxing has indeed returned and will soon return to the UK as well. As we speak right now on Thursday, Frank Warren's show is still scheduled to go ahead on July the 10th, touch wood, so boxing will be back. But we're going to preview the fight camp cards because they were announced by Matchroom in a cloud of publicity. I don't know if that's the right adjective or not, or even if it's an adjective. Let's get away from that. I'm going to go through them one by one and let you know what I think of the lineups. And I said last week that I would probably be talking about this topic, and that some shows were more impressive than others, and the pay-per-view one will come under the microscope at the end. But we'll kick off with August 1st, and I've got my laptop out of shots just so I don't forget any of the fights. And August 1st, the headliner is a barn burner, or it should be, I can't see it being anything else, between Sam Egerton and Ted Cheeseman. Even if Cheeseman gets on his toes like he did against Scott Fitzgerald in his most recent fight, Egerton only really fights one way generally, comes forward, throws big shots, targets the body, tries to bully his opponents to the ropes and into the corners. But he's a former welterweight. Cheeseman's a career super welter. Might not find the big cheese that easy to bully. So at some point, whether it's from the start or in the middle of the fight, they are going to meet head on, and it's guaranteed fireworks. So that gets a big thumbs up from me. You got James Tennyson, Gavin Gwynn for the vacant British lightweight title. Gavin Gwynn gave a decent account of himself against Joe Cordina previously for the same belt. James Tennyson, obviously a huge puncher, carried his power up with him from first featherweight and super featherweight, and looking really to get on the fringes of world class. He wants to win that Lonsdale belt, but really I think it's probably more of a stepping stone than anything else. Not an amazing fight. They're not the two best lightweights in the country, of course, because most of our better lightweights have moved on from the domestic scene. But still a great chance to see a powerful guy against a durable guy. And I guess, I'm not saying Gwynn can't win the fight, but it'll be interesting to see if he can take Tennyson's power. Jordan Gill, Reece Bellotti, I think is a sleeper hit. Bellotti obviously lost to Ryan Doyle, who then lost to Jordan Gill. So the form line doesn't favour him, but he is a very good boxer, good power as well. Jordan Gill, great on his toes, good angles, lateral movement, sharp puncher himself, maybe not concussive, but improved leaps and bounds under Dave Coldwell. Bellotti will feel like he's got a point to prove after getting the wrong end of a contentious decision out in Italy and giving Ryan Walsh a good fight for the British title previously. So I think that's actually a really good, underrated fight. Dalton Smith, Nathan Bennett. It's good to see Dalton Smith taking a relative or comparative risk so early in his career. Nathan Bennett will be bang up for it. He's been calling for the fight on social media, so I'm looking forward to that. And Fabio Wardley, a heavyweight whose career I followed with interest from the start, under the wing of Dillian Whyte, of course. Very, very good fighter. A great backstory as well. If you want to have a look at the secondsout.com website, there's a great story on there about him and how he got into boxing in the first place. Going up against Simon Vallily, who was a celebrated GB amateur and has never really translated that form into the pros. Had a bit of a up and down time at cruiserweight, didn't always seem to be completely dedicated. Now up at heavyweight, he must know this is his last chance on the big stage, so he'll come and give it his all. But Vallily's very talented and he sparred some of the best heavyweights around today. So all in all, the kickoff show on August 7th, I think is really good. I think if you compare it to a standard Sky Sports fight night before lockdown, I think it comes out pretty good. I don't think, a lot of people have criticised the show saying, well, before lockdown you wouldn't have seen anything like this. Well, yeah, budgets aren't going to be constricted. Well, budget's going to be the same, but revenue's going to be constricted, which means costs will come down. I still think it's a really good Saturday fight night. Now, the next two are on Fridays. So August the 7th is the next one up. And this, to be fair, is probably... It's either August 7th or August 14th for the weakest of the four. Perhaps that's why they're on Fridays. It's probably just to avoid the football, I don't know. But it's topped by the first ever women's title fight, world title fight between two Brits in Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas. There were doubts from the Harper camp about whether this would go ahead, whether Jonas really wanted it behind closed doors and in August. But Jonas is really up for it. Single mum, big chance for her. She obviously had that loss to Vivian Obernauf, come back from that, and she'll be hoping to make the most of her chance. Harper looks incredible, beating Eva Wallström for the title not too long ago. Well, actually, probably was a long time ago, but everything seems like it's longer ago now because of the lockdown. So that's an interesting fight. I think it would have been boosted if it was in Doncaster, so Harper had that kind of world title homecoming fight, if you like. But Matchroom HQ, still a decent enough fight. Chris Billam-Smith, Nathan Thorley, that's probably the most interesting fight on the show. Billam-Smith, Commonwealth Cruiserweight champion, part of that Shane McGuigan camp, really good fighter, talented, can punch as well, and always improving. He's definitely got a lot of upside. Nathan Thorley got the best win of his career against Jermaine Asari at light heavyweight, and then did that massive move up to cruiser because he couldn't comfortably make light heavyweight. He's doing all right up at cruiser, but he hasn't really fought anyone there yet. This could turn out to be a mismatch, or it could turn out to be a really competitive fight. I don't know enough about Thorley at cruiserweight to predict. So decent enough. Anthony Fowler against Adam Harper. Adam Harper always comes to give it a good try, mixed in decent company as well. But you'd think Fowler now, even taking into account the close loss to Scott Fitzgerald, is probably beyond this level by now. If his aspirations are to be believed, he should be kind of European or fringe world class now. I'm sure that's what he would want as well. But if this is kind of a stepping stone to bigger things, can't really complain. And I don't want to disrespect Adam Harper, who is a good fighter, but maybe Fowler should prove a bit too much for him. We shall see. And then there's 2 more fights on the card, but opponents I don't think have been announced for those yet. So that may be the weakest of the 4. Probably give it maybe a 2.5 out of 5, whereas the opening show would be a 3.5 out of 5. I'm just going to scroll down to August the 14th. Now, August the 14th isn't an amazing card on the surface, but if you dig a bit deeper, certainly for the hardcore fan, it's a solid 3 out of 5. Headline is Felix Cash defending his Commonwealth middleweight title against Jason Welborn, former world title challenger down at Super Welter. I could see it being a competitive fight. Felix Cash is a big middleweight who's improving lots in that busy Tony Sims gym. Jason Welborn was obviously mixed in a better company. He's former British champion at middleweight, but I'm just not sure he's a genuine middleweight even after that success. I think, when he dropped down to Super Welter, he gave Jarrett Hurd a few problems before being stopped relatively early on. But I think he is a natural 154 pounder. He's fought at 147 in the past as well. So I think he's in a bit of size disadvantage, and Cash is also a versatile boxer, impressive boxer, good amateur. It's going to be a difficult fight for Welborn, but if he can reproduce the form he had to beat Tommy Langford twice at middleweight, then we could be in for a really exciting fight. Cash's last fight against Jack Cullen certainly fit the bill for that, so we shall see. Nav Mansouri, we haven't seen him in a while, but he's fighting Kieran Conway, who's another kind of matchroom rising star, drew with Ted Cheeseman, of course, not too long ago. Another good fight. Kieran Conway's one to keep an eye on. He's got fast hands. He's an intelligent fighter. He's still very young. Nav Mansouri seems to have been around forever. Fought at kind of English domestic title level. So that's going to be an interesting one. It's a good test, I would say, for Conway. But the sleeper hit on this one, and for me, one of the best fights over Fight Camp as a whole, is Eric Donovan, star Irish amateur, unbeaten pro, been waiting for his chance. Up against Zelfa Barrett, recently signed to Matchroom, exciting, young, super featherweight as well. Hard to predict a winner in that one, actually. Really, really good fight. And buried in one of the kind of middle Fight Camp cards. Probably could have had a shot for being on the pay-per-view. But yeah, really good fight. And that's why this one really gets boosted up to a 3. And also Shannon Courtney, Rachel Ball could turn out to be really good. Rachel Ball has mixed in much better company than Shannon Courtney, albeit falling short in that company. But very tough and very durable, and I don't see Courtney getting her out of there. So it will turn out to who's the better boxer, and we'll see who wins. But it's definitely Courtney's biggest test so far as a pro, and by some distance. So I think that fight's being slept on a little bit. Then we come to the pay-per-view, and this, if I give it a ranking out of 5, has to be judged on the basis that it is a pay-per-view and not a regular fight night. That's August 22nd, topped by 2 in my view, top 10 world heavyweights in Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin. Tarnished a little bit by Povetkin struggling to a draw with Michael Hunter back in December. And even Dillian Whyte not labouring a little bit against Marius Vac out in Saudi Arabia. But style-wise, should turn out to be a bit of a cracker. Dillian Whyte can box on a back foot. He's got a much improved jab, but he likes to get involved. And Povetkin really just rumbles forward, throws big hooks. Intelligent boxer as well. Gave Anthony Joshua a few problems. Beat Hughie Fury, of course. And came back well in the Hunter fight after getting outboxed early on. And rocked, it has to be said. But in the twilight of his career now, at 40 years old, you expect Whyte to get the job done. You would hope with Whyte that all this talk of Fury and Joshua and so on hasn't distracted him from the task at hand. So a decent enough main event, but needs a solid undercard to really be worthy of the pay-per-view title. The issue with that is that Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano now seems to be off irrevocably. Katie Taylor, it will depend who comes in to fight her. We saw yesterday on social media that the WBA are now pushing for her to meet her WBA mandatory, who a lot of people won't know about. We'd much rather see her go up against another mandatory in Chantel Cameron in an all-British super fight. That'd be great. You know, sorry, not all British. I've got to stop saying that because it's just a slip of the tongue and Irish people are going to hate me. An Ireland versus Britain super fight. I'm not going to cut it out, but please forgive me. That would be an excellent fight. You know, I think Chantel Cameron could give Katie Taylor real problems with her style, and I'd really like to see that fight. Or if not that, then a rematch with Delphine Persoon, who many people felt was unlucky not to get the decision over Taylor when ceding her WBC lightweight title and making Taylor undisputed champion. But if those fights can't be made, then it's not the best pay-per-view I've ever seen, I've got to say. Luther Clay against Chris Kongo is a really, really good fight, but it's a hardcore fans fight. It's not going to attract the casual audience, albeit I'd be glued to it myself. And Martin Bakole against Sergey Kuzmin. Kuzmin obviously got a number done on him by Michael Hunter. You'd expect Bakole to get the job done in impressive style, but it could be an action fight, so there's that to be said for it. And then other fights still to be announced. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 based on the fact that it is pay-per-view. If Taylor ends up fighting either Cameron or Persoon, I think that boosts it up to at least a 3. So we'll wait and see on that. But that's my views and my rankings. I'd like to hear what your rankings are and why, and which fights particularly you're looking forward to. So let me know in the comments below. I'll be back on Monday for Reflections, 4:30 PM, and next week Thursday at the same time for the next Flexpectations. As always, really appreciate your time, and yeah, please comment below. Always like to read the comments. Thanks very much, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.